Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So somebody asked me a question today. Well, they threw it out there in the comment section anyway. They say, why no Laila or Alicia any boxer? No boxer has a sneaker deal. This is in reference to the video I did about the Nike deal being for, looks like her name is Asia or Aja. I don't want to mispronounce her name. I've heard it pronounced several ways, but I call her Mrs. Wilson. And her Nike deal on having a shoe. And I was just basically saying she received that because of, the whole person concept and a lot of her accomplishments on and off the basketball court. And I was just saying for Claressa, with all of her accomplishments, you would think that she would, have something like that as well. It didn't even just have to be a sneaker. But some people, they hear what they want to hear because they're emotional listeners, and I get it. But they started talking about Laila. Now look, no one's comparing Claressa to Laila. We're talking about Claressa comparing her to where we think someone with her accomplishments could be, and then where someone like her is at because of her own actions, okay? But since the person asked the question, right, because, with these accounts, gotta trust when you can't verify that the accounts, they're legit accounts, and they're not somebody there hiding in the bushes and shit who doesn't want anyone to know who they really are. But my thing is this. With Laila Ali, back then, okay, she did have endorsement relationships and brand partnerships, but not in the same way modern athletes sign massive shoe deals with companies like Nike or Adidas today. Okay? Her endorsements were more lifestyle, wellness, and television oriented, which actually fit the brand image she carefully built after boxing. So, for the discussion, let's just talk about Laila Ali, some of the major endorsements and brand partnerships, right? Now, we know she was involved with Subway, and she even did a video. Y'all can go look at the video she put out. I think it was I don't know if it was a video or a YouTube short, but she has something that she put out where she just is listing all the different brands. I think it was that second video she dropped, but all the different things that she's done. But one in particular, she worked with Subway, one of the most notable brands she worked with, and she appeared in national commercials promoting healthy eating. The partnership emphasized her image as disciplined, healthy, family-friendly. At the time, Subway often partnered with athletes who represented fitness and positive lifestyle choices, okay? Then she actually partnered with Kohl's. She launched a home and lifestyle line. The collaboration focused on kitchen products, home goods, lifestyle branding. And the deal showed that brands viewed her as a trusted household personality, not just as a fighter. Then the designer shoe warehouse is another one. Ali also had a partnership with designer brands, which owns DSW. She worked with the brand on style campaigns. This expanded her appeal beyond sports into fashion and lifestyle marketing, where she's still at to this day. And she's doing way more than that. Did a whole Food Network television branding, although not a traditional endorsement. Laila Ali built strong equity through television. She hosted shows such as Chopped, Homemade Simple, and these appearances helped position her as a lifestyle expert, a relatable personality, a positive public figure. And she's still positioned the same way, even after all these years of being retired. So that kind of exposure made her very marketable to brands. Why she didn't have a major shoe deal, as this person was asking, right? Despite her fame, Laila Ali never had a signature shoe deal with companies like Nike or Adidas, is my understanding. I canvassed the internet, I just couldn't find anything on there, right? But there were several reasons, okay? Women's boxing was not commercially developed. During her career, the late 1990s, early 2000s, women's boxing had limited media coverage. Endorsement budgets were small. Brands weren't investing heavily in female fighters, okay? So Laila Ali has a lot to do with where boxing is today. She was one of the pioneers. Her, Christy Martin, Ann Wolfe, but Laila Ali She had a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Companies focus on mainstream sports, man. You know, back then brands prioritized athletes in sports like WNBA, tennis, track and field, and soccer. Even today, it's still kind of like that. When it comes to boxing, you have to be the exception. You have to be that top 1%. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when we talk like Claressa Shields, because she is the top 1%. But when it comes to the whole person concept, that's always a great conversation. Now you talk about just Mrs. Wilson, who got the signature shoe deal, because women's sports marketing has expanded dramatically. Okay? I mean, you can just sit back and take a look at different female athletes, man, who've just had the big endorsement deals. Okay? Now, when it comes to Laila Ali, you got to understand the real reason she was attractive to brands. Okay? Laila Ali's value to companies came from her image and professionalism. Image and professionalism. Okay? Brands saw her as disciplined, articulate, media-friendly, controversy-free, respected across generations. And of course, she also carried the legacy of her father. And that's just being real. Muhammad Ali. But she built her own reputation without damaging that legacy, and she did it with style and grace. Because believe you me, Laila Ali, she had it hard because boy, oh boy, she couldn't even fart wrong with that last name. She had to get it right. She had to win fights. She had to work harder. She had to jump higher. She had to be more disciplined and control her emotions. She had to bite her tongue more than the average Joe. She had to do it. And she's human. But she understood there's going to be some perks that come with being Muhammad Ali's daughters, but there's also going to be some challenges. And she embraced it all, man. Built her own reputation without damaging that legacy. That's why Laila Ali's brand is super powerful. Okay, so Claressa could be like, oh, so pretty Laila. Well, oh, so pretty Laila's brand is pretty damn powerful, and you probably should have listened to her. And you probably should stop bringing up her name and calling her an old witch and all that bullshit. And stop and try to learn. Because the path Laila Ali went down is not a bad path for somebody to follow behind. When you get companies, man, to trust you because you're consistently projecting what companies need to see: professionalism, class, stability, intelligence. Now, just take that. Being professional, class, stability, intelligence. That's Laila Ali. Can you apply that elsewhere? Somebody tell me something. And this allowed her to transition from boxer, entrepreneur, television personality, wellness advocate, motivational speaker, amongst other things. But this is where you got to understand the big picture. And this is what I think some of these fighters and athletes, they don't understand. Even without a Nike level shoe deal, now this is all back in the day now, Laila Ali built one of the most respected post-boxing brands of any fighter. She knew what she was doing, she knows what she's doing, and everyone can learn from her, especially Claressa Shields, not necessarily go in the direction of listening to pat, papoose, pat, brrr. No. Listen to la 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 la. That's just my opinion. Her success shows that companies often value image, reliability, public behavior. Now just take that. The image, reliability, public behavior. Let's try to apply that to some people. What do you get? Bow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. Hood dog is in the M&F and hi-yows. But those things matter just as much as athletic achievement. It's just not about the athletic achievement, okay? So that brings me to the what if, right? What if La 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 was fighting today? What if she was fighting today? Because we know back then they just weren't investing that much in the females, period, especially in boxing, right? Would she have a major shoe deal today? Would Laila Ali have a major shoe deal today? We're talking about she was still undefeated, still knocking people out, carrying the same professionalism, class, brand discipline that she showed during her career. If she could take her then and bring her forward to where we are right now, would Laila Ali have a major shoe deal? Surveys say very likely yes. Simple, man. You got to understand today's sports marketing environment. A fighter with Laila Ali's resume, personality, and name recognition will be extremely valuable to major companies. You see, the people out here, man, who are emotional listeners, man, y'all got to just take it down a notch and hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Think about all this and apply it, man, to just whoever you want. Whether it's Claressa, whether it's whoever. The resume, man, the personality, the name recognition, you know, the professionalism, the class, brand discipline, drama-free. That stuff matters. I don't care what y'all say. When you start talking about major companies like Nike, Adidas, Puma, Under Armour, and the list goes on and on. You know, I 100% believe if she was still fighting, because she's retired, so she's gone a different direction, but she's still doing it big. I 100% believe she'd have everybody be on her. Everybody be on her. But the difference between her era and today is that brands now aggressively invest in women's sports. Look, I'm not making that up. Mrs. Wilson with the shoe deal. Big time signature shoe deal from Nike. Serena Williams had one of the most successful athlete brand partnerships in sports history. Naomi Osaka became a global marketing icon. Katie Taylor elevated women's boxing commercially. 20 years ago, this level of marketing simply did not exist for female fighters. So you really can't sit there, man, and hold Laila Ali's feet to the fire and say, why didn't old Laila? Why didn't Laila? Pretty Laila. Why didn't? Tell me something, Pat. Man, please, hood champion, you just like Laila. Nah, that ain't it. I'm being fair and trying to give an educated response because I did my research. And if, in fact, Laila didn't have different, big time sporting endorsements and stuff like that because it was something that happened with her attitude or she happened to make a bad decision or whatever, I would share that with you. But that didn't happen. 20 years ago, this level of marketing, it just didn't goddamn exist for female fighters. So people need to understand that. Now I'm gonna tell you this too, right? Because we got to be real. The Muhammad Ali effect, another factor that would dramatically boost her value today is the Ali legacy. Dramatically. When it comes to her pops, Muhammad Ali, may he rest in peace, is not just a boxing legend. Considered one of the most recognizable athletes in human history. One of the most recognized human beings in the world ever. Anywhere that man, people hold him near and dear to their hearts. And his children are an extension of him. That's why when Claressa coming out here and people disrespecting Laila Ali, like, man, what's wrong with y'all? If she did something, if she said something, I'd be like, all right, well, she threw it out there. You gotta take that jab, you know what I'm saying? But I'm out here looking. I'm telling you, somebody tell me something. What has she done? What has she said that would warrant someone calling her a witch? For someone to say, oh, she's not innocent, she does things to her. Okay, tell me. Because I don't even really keep up with Claressa like that. People send me stuff, but I can sit here and rattle off about 15 things off the top of my head that's just beyond comprehension. But y'all tell me one thing that Laila Ali has done. Tell me one. You see what I'm saying? You can't. But I tell you what, boy, today, brands would absolutely leverage that connection. Laila Ali and her pops, 100%. But here's the key point. Here's the key point. Laila Ali didn't just ride her last name. She knew she had to earn it. She knew she had to earn it. Remember, man, her pops didn't even want her doing this. She proved herself, man. 24-0 professional record. Multiple world titles, dominant knockout style. I don't care what y'all say. To get in there and put the bing-bings on people, I don't care. Y'all say, oh, she fought school teachers. Whoa. Outside of a handful of fighters, who Claressa Shields fought? You see, we can sit there and go back and forth with that. Let's give these women the credit they deserve as being fighters and doing the business. All I heard Laila Ali say was, she knew there was no competition for me, so she hung up the gloves. Claressa is almost at that point too. So if you're a Claressa Shields supporter, how are you going to hate Laila Ali? Because you want to say, oh, there's no one for her. She knew she could beat everybody. Okay, so that's the same thing with Claressa Shields. Maybe Laila was so special that she made female athlete boxers look a kind of way. Maybe Claressa is so special that she makes female athletes look a kind of way. That's why the idea of her and Claressa in a dream fight scenario, that's why it's so intriguing. But I'm going to tell you this again. She proved herself. Okay? She proved herself. And when you talk about the 24-0 professional record, 21 knockouts, the world titles, that whole style she had, that combination of heritage and legitimacy is marketing gold. Marketing gold. Now, why her personality would be the perfect fit for modern branding right now? Companies today want athletes who check several boxes. Laila Ali naturally checked nearly all of them. Professionalism. She rarely created controversy and always represented the sport with dignity. Brands love athletes who won't embarrass the company. Now, just think about that. Brands want athletes who won't embarrass the company. Do you know of any particular athlete, if a brand got behind, who was unpredictable, who may do or say some shit that could embarrass the company? What about media presence? Ali was extremely comfortable in front of cameras. Very comfortable in front of cameras. She later hosted television shows and conducted interviews with ease, which is why networks like Food Network worked with her. Because she was always there breezing, being professional. Companies value athletes who can speak clearly, promote products naturally, appear on talk shows and media tours. Imagine if Claressa Shields was on Food Network. Because Claressa likes to cook. And she went out there and she made a plate of fish. Like that plate of fish she made for Peppos. Let me see something. Y'all remember she made that plate of fish for Peppos, right? Hold on one second. I wasn't even really thinking about this, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and let me see if I got it. But she made that plate of fish. Claressa likes to cook. She likes to eat. She likes to show people that she can do things. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine if Claressa Shields was on the Food Network. Where is it? I remember I had a little fun with the whole idea of her making fish and cooking and putting food in front of Peppos. I remember I had a little fun with that. You know what I'm saying? And we had a good laugh. But the reality is, Claressa likes to cook. She likes to do things. And we had a good laugh. Where is this thing here? Claressa threw it in front of Peppos.
Yep, but that's exactly what's inside her. So I'm gonna need her to get that right, get that together, because you can't. That plate that she slid in front of him is enough to make a man say, "Damn, I want to go home."
Hey, I saw the plate and I went up there and was eyeballing the rat poison. I was gonna take me a teaspoon of that shit and say, hey, I'm gonna take this one right here for Papoose. Papoose, Pap. Yeah, this for my boy Pap, man. He ain't going down alone. We're gonna go out together. That shit look horrible, man. Horrible.
Horrible, especially when once you left, knows how to cook, knows how to serve up a meal.
Oh yeah. Ain't no roaches in the house. Nobody there digging in their mouth, digging in their nails, smelling their finger. Ain't none of that craziness going on. You had a clean woman, took pride in herself, her appearance. And you got this one over here. Oscar the goddamn Welch. Yeah, it's bad.
Not putting all that negative energy in the food.
Attitude.
Cook with no negative energy in your food.
The food had an attitude. The food had an attitude.
Exactly. The food was like, I don't even want to go.
The food was arguing and shit. Get your ass out of here, cabbage. And then, hey, salmon, get your ass out of here. Bread, what you doing supposed to be, bread? Rice, what your ass doing over here, Rice? Get your ass over here. Back. The shit was, the plate of food was arguing with each other. I don't know if I saw that. I saw that everything was arguing on the goddamn plate. That's why Papoose looked nervous and shit. And like the plate of food had it and shit came to life.
What I'm doing here.
What the hell is this? How y'all put me on this plate? Hey, where I come from? I'm from Flint, Michigan. What the fuck is this here? Hey, what are you doing over here, Biscuit? Come put these goddamn carrots on the plate. Salmon, you from Puerto Rico? You a salmon or you a Samoan? You a Puerto Rican bitch? Get your ass up out of here. Papoose,
He gonna eat this food.
Hell yeah, you know. Eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake. Man, what's his name now? Ike Turner. Put an Ike Turner on Papoose and shit. Eat this goddamn Samoan, this Puerto Rican fish. You better eat it. This fish is bilingual. It's bilingual. You better eat this. Como esta. Eat this goddamn fish, Papoose. Puerto Rican. Now, y'all remember that we had a little fun with the conversation. But just trying to imagine Claressa Shields being on a Food Network and cooking. And how would that go? I'm just asking the question. How would that go? Okay. But the bottom line is brands love athletes who won't embarrass the company. And media presence is very important. Very important. You got to be able to speak clearly, promote products naturally, and appear on talk shows and media tours. You have to do it. And one thing for sure, you got to have marketability across demographics. Laila Ali appealed to boxing fans, casual sports fans, women, families, and lifestyle audiences. 100%. That broad appeal makes an athlete much more valuable to advertisers. It's facts, man. The young people say facts. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Okay? If she was fighting today, I'm going to say this. With that record she had, her knockout style will help even more. Even more. So if she was fighting today, yes, she would have all them deals. But it would help her even more, the fact that she knocks people out. That she was knocking people out. You see, modern sports marketing, even from the past, when it comes to boxing, they love highlight moments. We look at highlights from all the legends. We even look at, that's what I'm talking about the men, but even from the ladies. Ann Wolf, the most viral knockout ever in boxing, men or women's, is when Ann Wolf knocked out, what's her name, Vonda Ward, whatever her name was. That's the most brutal, violent knockout ever in the history of boxing, men or female. A male or female, according to most experts. But that's why I think Ali's aggressive fighting style will generate viral clips, social media buzz, highlight reels, and you get a lot of attention on her. Imagine Laila Ali knocking someone out and those clips circulating on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Brands pay attention to athletes who create shareable moments, man. You know? Then you have the role model factor. You see, it just keeps getting better and better if Laila Ali was fighting right now. It just keeps getting better and better. One of the biggest things companies look for is whether an athlete can represent something bigger than themselves. Not the me, my, I, me, my, I. Right? Look at me, my, I. I'm okay, you not okay. Who's that sound? You ever heard any athlete sound like that? Laila Ali positioned herself as disciplined, family-oriented, respectful, empowering to women. Companies want athletes who can appear in campaigns promoting confidence, leadership, camaraderie. You know, camaraderie, because we as women need to support each other. When one's down, we don't kick them while they're down. We lift them up because we have to show camaraderie. I believe you got to show that camaraderie, 100%. Ali fit that mold perfectly, okay? She fit it perfectly. And I'm going to tell you this, and I still don't think it's too late, but you know, she might have had a signature boxing line. She may have, you know, I just couldn't find it on here, you know, and I didn't go, I'm not going to take the video she put out and go and take it and paste it in here. I'm not doing that. Unless she hits me up like, Hood, you can do whatever the hell you want. I'll be like, all right, cool. Then I'll start piecing that up. But until she give me the green light, I'm not doing that. I think it's kind of corny. But if she fought today, companies might even create products specifically tied to her identity. From gloves, fitness apparel, training equipment, women's boxing gear. And, you know, she may have had stuff like that. But I'm just talking about for today, I think it'll be on a much bigger scale. And this is similar to how companies built athlete-driven product lines around stars like MJ, Michael Jordan, not Michael Jackson, all right, with the Air Jordan brand. So, you know, it is what it is. There's been a modern women's boxing boom. And that's why I think there's another reason why Ali would have thrived commercially today. You see, because women's boxing is finally gaining mainstream attention and respect. And everyone has played their role, from the pioneers to those who are currently doing it. They've all played their role. But when you have events like Serrano, Taylor, Baumgartner, and then this one coming up with Baumgartner and Shadesha Green, 2 different fights, but on the same card, that's what you need. That is what you need. You know, proving that women's fights can sell tickets and generate serious attention. That's what you need. If Laila Ali were active during this era, she would likely be positioned as a centerpiece of the sport. 100%. 100%. She's retired and she's still basically the centerpiece of the damn sport. But there's some other ladies on the rise who, you know, going to be able to probably stand alongside her if they keep getting it right. Katie Taylor Serrano, I think they deserve to stand shoulder to shoulder. Baumgartner, you already seen, Laila already gave it a stamp of approval. Shadesha Green is going that route. And there are others, man. There are others, countless others. I'm not intentionally leaving them out or omitting them from this presentation. There are countless others, but there's one person who doesn't deserve to be there at all. Okay? Simple. And they may say, man, please, Hood Champion, you full of shit. All right, whatever. But I think there is one person who doesn't deserve to be there. Okay? As the centerpiece of the sport, shoulder to shoulder with Laila Ali, not going to happen, man. Not when you're disrespecting the woman. So the bottom line, I just think Laila Ali was ahead of her time. But for the work she put in, all these women can benefit if they follow the blueprint. She put it out there. She's still benefiting from the blueprint that she concocted, that she created, that she strategized, and she's been winning, man. These other women can have some success based on that as well. You just gotta want it and go out there and do the business. She fought, she won, she knocked people out. She was able to take a deep breath when she really wanted to fire off on somebody's ass. She chirped up when she had to during boxing, but after that, in retirement, she really stopped and had to think twice before she opened her mouth. And then she had a way where she's like, I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm going to say something. But she did it very strategically with a lot of intelligence. A lot of intelligence. But I do think she was ahead of her time, man. The career happened maybe 15 years too early for the marketing boom women's sports are experiencing now. If she had entered boxing during the modern social media era, she could have become a global brand ambassador, a signature shoe athlete, one of the highest paid female fighters ever. No doubt. But she was just, here a little bit too soon. So the bottom line, if Laila Ali were fighting today with the same record, personality, and professionalism, it's very realistic she would have multiple major apparel partnerships, multiple signature product lines, and, multiple massive media opportunities. And not just because of her name, but because she represented something companies desperately look for. A champion who enhances the brand instead of creating risk for it. Enhance the brand, not create risk for it. So when you look at these champions right now, who comes to your mind as far as someone who can enhance a brand, and then who's going to create a risk for that brand and a headache? Somebody tell me something. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.